Smith has it. Knicks down 3. Should the Bulls foul? No. Anthony for 3. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
All right, recording this 4:58, the 5th of September. Me and Nolan are back on the pod, but today we're joined by Bono, special guest today. Come to talk about different things, the Knicks, the Eastern Conference picture. Maybe talk a little Ben Simmons. We'll see how the pod ends up. But yeah, like the first question I wanted to ask Bono was pretty much this year's offseason with the Knicks. Like, how did you feel bringing back the band, the contracts? How did you feel, Bono?
I mean, I love this. This past offseason, it made me this past season in general made me re-fall in love with the Knicks. And it's a perfect offseason, in my opinion. We still Boston's backcourt. We signed the key guys, and the draft is great. So I'll say an A+ offseason, in my opinion.
What was your in the draft? How did you feel about how Leon Rose and company went about handling the draft, and what was your reaction on draft night to the way things played out?
I mean, I was there in person, and it was wild because all my boys, we all wanted Sharif Cooper because he was falling a lot.
Yeah.
And then we kept on trading back and back. But looking back on it, we ended up with Grimes, McBride, European guy, Sims, and then we ended up coming out of the draft more draft picks than we entered. So I think we caught a massive W with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, when you see the player, I was kind of right there with you, where players like Sharif are falling, and even I was thinking in my head, can we trade up for a player like Moody? But when you see the players that went between 19 and 25, where we eventually picked, it seemed like none of the players I really wanted the Knicks to take really were taken there anyway. So to be able to move back and, like you said, acquire draft picks, I think that's a home run as far as a front office is concerned.
No, for sure. I think, past listeners will know that I was a big fan of Quentin Grimes. The tournament really set it off for me. I thought he had a great regular season, but when I saw him really elevate that Houston team to the Final Four, I thought, okay, this is a kid that could come into our program and really help us today. The McBride pick was a little, at the time for me was a little bit questionable. Can't lie. I said it multiple times. The Sharif Cooper thing was, it's always going to be in our mind. We got to see how he pans out in the league. But Preston, the Clippers, he's definitely going to see minutes with the Clippers. I think definitely a lot of options there at 32. But hey, I can't complain with McBride. Definitely brings it on the defensive end. Interesting to see how he develops in the future, but I don't know if he'll get any minutes with the full backcourt. As far as the contracts, that Leon signed this year, Bono, how'd you feel about the Evan Fournier contract? 4 years, I believe, $78 million. Pretty average on defense, but definitely his skill set on offense is something that we needed. What was your thoughts?
I would say in general, maybe a little bit of an overpay, but the player option that made it a little bit better. But we really needed a guy like Evan Fournier. So, because I think we were better than the Hawks last season, and what really killed us in the playoffs is we didn't have a go-to shot creator,
right?
Someone who could score on the perimeter, and Evan Fournier is that guy. So he was worth the money in my opinion. But
I agree with you there. I mean, yeah. I think you said the shot creation was clearly the thing that got exposed the most about our team, and bringing back Burks and Quickly, that's they're probably the two of the better guys at doing that on our team that helped, but you needed another extra piece to kind of take that burden off Randall and RJ next year to make the offense flow a little better, I think. So hopefully, like you said, he pans out. I mean, we only ended up paying him what is it? Just starting your average starting two guards. So it's not some crazy overpay. There's a team option. I think it's a pretty good deal for us. Pretty good fit.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't bad.
For sure. What was your thoughts on, Mitchell Robinson not getting an extension? Noel came in last year, stepped in for injured Mitch, played very well. I was surprised he didn't make a all defensive team, the way the Knicks defensively, rallied around Noel. What were your thoughts on, the Mitch extension not happening?
I think it's bound to happen eventually, but Mitchell Robinson isn't someone who I would give like the max to, and he's not worth overpaying in my opinion. Phenomenal athlete, great shot blocker, lob catcher, probably the best in the league. He broke Wilt's record for a reason with the field goal percentage, but Nerlens Noel carried us on defense last year. I think he should have been like first team, maybe it's like deserves something.
Definitely second team. I thought, he didn't make second team. I thought that was insane.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think he was like the only player in the NBA to average. It was some defensive stat where like 2 blocks and a steal, something like that. But
yeah, and just like I don't know, I think with him, him and Mitch particular, like having that rim protection when you have your starting guards be Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose, who just like, they're not the greatest at staying in front of their man at this point in their career. I mean, it's important to have big guys like that too. So I mean, locking up Nerlens to a deal and you're not sure what you're going to do with Mitch yet. I mean, like you said, I think it's more than likely bound to happen with Mitch. It's just kind of a matter of how Mitch and his camp kind of play it. He's already been through a handful of agents and everything. And I could see him wanting to get paid a larger amount than the Knicks are willing to pay him. Like you said, I don't think he's worth the overpay. So I think that made the Nerlens move make more sense, that if they're not sure what they're going to get out of Mitch. And I also think that like giving Mitch a year, say go out and prove it, like earn what you think you're worth. I think, that's only going to drive him to be the best player he can be. And if you end up paying him another $2 million a year because he went out and showed you that he is the player rather than just risking it on an overpay this year, I think you're better off going in with another year of information under your belt before making a commitment like that, at least.
No, for sure. I think, Lee, to me, it was just surprising that, with his checkbook open, he didn't, at least you didn't hear, with the reporters, with the Knicks reporters that, at least contract negotiations were, dying or, up.
See, that's kind of what I'm thinking is that the Knicks reached out with their offer. It was probably similar to what Nerlens was, maybe a little higher. And they were so far apart that the conversation this offseason just really hasn't gone anywhere because neither team's really willing to come down from what they think they're worth right now.
Yeah, I agree. Last Nick I wanted to talk about, for this off season, is Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker recently been, Yankee Stadium taking pictures with A Boogie, really, entrenched in, with the life in New York right now. How much, do you guys think Kemba has left in the tank? Because, he didn't really play last season, was injured most of his time in Boston, but this is the longest period of time he's been off. You can only imagine, like right now, he's 100% healthy and he's feeling as good as he's felt in a long time. You can only imagine, right? But a real question is with Derrick Rose coming back and him having an outstanding playoffs against the Hawks, time there with quickly all that, like, with how much. What do you guys think of his stats coming into next season? How do you guys feel? I guess we could start with you, Bono.
I mean, Kemba's a skilled player. There's no doubt about that. Only question is his health. And like you said, this is the longest time he's been off. So he's going to be 100% healthy. But obviously we want the Knicks to win. We want Kemba to be healthy. He's going to be a big part of our team. I think we can let him sit back-to-backs. D-Rose can start in those games. We got quickly to be like Derrick Rose's backup if Kemba's not playing.
Even Deuce can play some spot minutes too.
Yeah. I think Deuce is going to be like mostly in the G League, but if Kemba's sitting out a game, throw Deuce in.
Right.
But I think Kemba's going to be huge for us. Great scorer, great facilitator.
I agree. I mean, I agree with the point that you said about, it's like the longest time he's been off and everything, but I am a little concerned about Kemba's health, just in the fact that like everything that you read about it is that it's like the cartilage around his knees that's eroding, and like knee cartilage just doesn't just like regrow as you get older. And I mean, I think he won't be asked to do quite as much as he was asked to do in Boston, and I don't think he'll play back to backs, and I don't think Tibbs will have a problem, like overplaying him and D Rose. I think you'll probably see them each play about 22 minutes a game, and whoever has the hot hand probably close it out. But I think, if Kemba is the player that Kemba can be, even if he's not playing back to backs, he opens up so much for the Knicks offense that wasn't there last year with Alfred, just from his passing, his just ability to make people miss, to create for others, to shoot at all, get a load from three and mid range. It's hard to picture at the price that we got him at $8 million a year. It's not like Knicks overpaying, someone like we did in the past, all this money, and he was clearly washed up to bring in like Amari Stoudemire, who was great for like a year, but you knew his knees were shot at that point, and he couldn't be like the lead player on your team making all that money. Like, you're bringing in Kemba to a team that was already a playoff team, to a situation where he's not gonna be asked to be the best player on your team, so there's like minimal risk involved. And I just really don't see a situation outside of like him having a devastating, like season-ending injury where you could say that the signing was negative, like in any way.
For sure. No, I agree. And hopefully, his signing really stands out, during like game 50 or like game, 55, and we're fighting in the standings with the Heat and the Bulls. And in games like that, tough games against the Heat, like Bulls, Celtics, those upcoming wars, hopefully, his skill set can really shine and bring something new to the table that Elford and Bullock, definitely got exposed in the playoffs, their deficiencies. Hopefully, Kemba could alleviate some of that. Going to be interesting to see what Kemba brings to the Knicks for sure. Next Nick I wanted to talk about was RJ. RJ workout videos have been coming out recently. Supposedly, he's 6'8" now. Looks even bigger than last year. He looked insane his rookie year. Like most wing players are kind of skinny. Like, he came in the league already yoked, looked even more yoked. Watch out for the steroid tests. They're gonna have to check my boy, but definitely looks like he's been putting in the work. Bono, like, how did you feel about RJ's development from his rookie to his second year, with the 3-point shot and everything? How did you feel about RJ sophomore year?
I mean, the jump was like incredible. RJ came in the year into the NBA. And, they were all saying, oh, let him shoot. He can't shoot. Sophomore year comes around, 40% from three. That's an incredible jump. But he still has some weaknesses in his game. Like, his creation off the dribble in the mid-range, not the best right now, but I think he's been working on that in the summer. And if he can take a jump like his 3-point jump was last year and like translate that to like his off the dribble game, he's going to be like an even better player. I can see him averaging 22 to like 24 next season, honestly. He's going to be a really scary player. And that random drug test, it's going to happen. The guy's absolutely yoked now.
No, for sure. It's kind of crazy because I've compared them to like other Duke wings, like Tatum and Ingram, and they really popped, their third, fourth year when given the opportunity. And I do see, him. I don't know if he'll be able to average 22 to 24 points. I know he definitely can, and he definitely can, but I don't know if he will be able to, just because, the addition with Kemba, Randall's still going to, get his isolation buckets. And other guys like Burks and Rose, Quickly is still, a scorer at the end of the day. So the 22 to 24 is definitely high, but he's definitely capable of doing it. And I definitely don't see Tibbs, just handing over the keys to RJ. Not yet, not completely yet, but yeah, I definitely see the potential to be there. I definitely do. Nolan, what's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, like Bono was saying, if he can make a leap even remotely close, because like I hate to even put that expectation on RJ to say like the leap he made from his 3-point shooting his first year to second year, because that leap was so big. But like if you can make a leap like half that size in just his shot creation, you see how big he is and like how easy he's able to get to the rim. And yeah, he goes left a lot, and Randall and him kind of had trouble with that in the playoffs, is finishing at the right. But like the stronger he gets, the less of a problem that's going to be for him. There's still some holes in his game. He does need to, like we said, work on his handle, work on his shot creation, pull up game a little bit. But I think, we've talked about on this pod before, his ceiling really is like as high as I think any player that was taken in the top 3 of that draft, including Zion and Ja, I think. So, I mean, you're continuing to see his body develop the way that you hoped it would. And I think if he was on a team like the Timberwolves, you'd see him put up numbers closer to like what Anthony Edwards is, but they'd be a lot more inefficient, kind of like what we saw out of RJ his rookie year. I could see him this year averaging about 20 points a game, and then hopefully on like really good efficiency, just because he'll have better looks than he did last year, and he'll hopefully just continue to improve. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I'm expecting nothing but good things from RJ moving forward.
How do you guys feel about workout videos? Like they get like you either love them or you hate them. I feel like some guys they overhype them, some guys they downplay them. I think I think when you watch them, you have to pay attention on what they're working on. If they're doing the same thing that they do in the regular season, it's kind of for show. But if you actually see the guy, like say like you see a big working on his 3 and he's making a few of them in a row, okay, that's something that you could maybe I could see you using in the regular season. But the Ben Simmons videos and all that stuff on Twitter, it's kind of annoying. How do you feel about that, Bono? The
I
workout
hate
videos.
them. I think they're meaningless. I've seen videos of Steven Adams hitting like 5 threes in a row.
Mitchell
Ben Simmons is a
Robinson.
sniper in those gyms. All NBA players, they're great in an open gym. They all look like Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. They all look like that in an open gym. So I want to see it in like the regular season. Do it on the NBA court, and then I'll respect it. But until then, the workout vids mean nothing to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've seen too many workout videos of Mitchell Robinson shooting threes and Dennis Smith Jr. looking like he had fixed his shot, and just every possible stupid thing that you can see in a workout video, thinking that, oh my God, this is the year that player X is going to take this leap just to see like, I don't think Mitch has ever even attempted a 3 in a regular season game. I think Tibbs would bench him like for a week if he even tried to. So like, yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think they mean anything really. It's good to see players working. It's cool. But I mean, outside of that, it's meaningless in terms of like actual NBA play.
Cool. Go ahead.
I don't know if you guys have Mitch on Snapchat, but I think before last season he was saying, I'm gonna be pulling threes like Steph this season. He didn't attempt a single one.
I saw someone post that, they screenshotted it, tweeted it, but yeah, I don't follow that stuff. This stuff's so funny. I would love to see it just one time.
Just a garbage time 3-pointer.
If this is like, if this is Mitch's last season here, and it gets to the point where he knows he's not coming back, I just want to see him have one game where he goes out and launches up some threes just for shits.
That Manute Bowl game where he pulls like 5?
Yeah.
I need a game like that from Mitch.
Exactly. That's exactly what I need.
Crazy. Funny story. A few years ago, I think it was the first year Fizdale was coach. Yeah, it was the first year Fizdale was coaching. I had went to a preseason game against the Celtics, and it was that year. Isaiah Thomas had come back from his All-Star year, and he was coming back for like his second year, and Kelly Olynyk was working out. And I came to the game a little early. And number one, people don't realize how big these NBA players are. And you're right, Bono. Like these guys don't miss. He looked like Steph Curry out there, and he was shooting from like half court, like elbow, deep elbow, like it's insane. Like these guys, like if they have like nobody guarding them, yeah, these guys are complete snipers, and it makes the workout videos completely worthless. I completely agree. Next topic, I wanted to bring up was, the Eastern Conference, because, years, the West have always had this reputation that, they're always tougher. It's always harder to get in the playoffs in the West. If you're a ninth seed in the West, you're pretty much a third seed in the East, all the disrespect back and forth. We've seen for years, but it looks like the tables have turned, because the Eastern Conference is definitely a gauntlet, with the teams, Philly, Bucks, the Heat, the Bulls made improvements, we signed guys, the Hornets are definitely looking to make another push. The Pacers are, with the addition with Rick Carlisle, I definitely don't see them taking, their foot off the gas. Bono, how do you feel about the Eastern Conference, and what teams do you feel like might take a fall, might take a leap? Like, how do you feel?
It's definitely deeper than usual, but I'm still gonna give the edge to the West, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I would say like the top teams in the East are better than the top teams in the West, but the bottom tier teams in the West are better than the bottom tier teams in the East. So overall, I think the West is better.
I agree with that. I think definitely depth wise that the West is better. Yeah, like the Nets and the Bucks are probably. I mean, even the top, it's pretty even. Like you can say the Nets are better
The Nets
than
are stacked, but
yeah. The Lakers. I mean, it's not like they're a joke. It's not like Denver. The Clippers don't have Paul George this year, which takes them a step back. But I mean, it's not like the top of the West this week either. And I think there are still teams at the bottoms of each conference that are figuring it out. But I mean, I think like the youth movement in the NBA is about as strong as it's ever been.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure. No, Nolan, I think you hit it right on the head. The league has never been as young as it's been like right now. And and it's definitely as deep as it is right now. Like I guarantee, like it was definitely way easier to make the league, 10 years ago than it is now. I mean, the 15 guy off the bench right now is probably starting, 10 years ago, and definitely the talent leap has definitely one thing. But as far as teams, in the Eastern Conference, I definitely do see Philly taking a little bit of a downhill depending on how that Ben Simmons situation plays out. We got to see how that goes. Personally, I do think the Bulls got a little better. Me and Nolan, we're gonna debate this the whole season, I feel like, but we're gonna see how the Bulls. Yeah. How do you feel about the Bulls, Bono, with the addition of Lonzo, DeRozan, Caruso, all those guys with the young core that they have already? Maybe I personally don't think we've seen the best of Zach LaVine. I definitely see future MVP seasons out of him. How do you feel about the Bulls this upcoming season?
I'm a fan of what they did. I'm a big Lonzo Ball fan. I think he's a great player and hasn't been utilized properly. But DeRozan signing was great. I don't think Zach LaVine is going to be like an MVP caliber player, but 25 points will get him some All-Star nods here and there. So we got Lonzo, DeRozan, LaVine. That's a nice big three. They can be like a 4 or 5 seed. That's nice for them. Yeah, I don't know. Great offseason for them.
Nolan, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before. I like what they did in terms of like they kind of just did what they had to do because they had to get better in order to keep LaVine. I'm not the biggest fan of DeRozan at this age on that contract, but he does make them better, I think LaVine is a really good player. I think that like what we saw from him this year, from his 3-point percentage, I think like that's legit. I don't think you're going to see much regression from him. I think if anything, he's going to keep getting better. But I just really don't know how it all fits together. I really don't think the team is going to be a good defensive team. I don't think that they're, I don't know. I don't think Vucevic, I think they overpaid a lot in getting Vucevic and traded away a lot of draft picks, and they don't have much room to get better from here. So yeah, maybe like you said, they're a 5-6 seed, and that's good, but I don't see them really contending in the East as like a top tier team or anything like that.
I see, but the only argument that I guess we're gonna have all year, for real, I do think Levine and DeRozan, they can mimic. I'm gonna say they're gonna be the exact version, but they can mimic some version of Kawhi and Paul George, where they take turns handling the offense. I think DeRozan showed the last few years that he's extremely unselfish player. I think he's up to like 7-8 assists a game. That pick and roll with him and Vooch should be lethal. Defensively, I'll give you that. I have questions about them defensively, and the coach. I don't like their coach at all. He's a head case, and I don't know if he's able to put all that together. Maybe I'm wrong, and we look at this and it's 40 games into the season, and I'm eating my words, maybe, but we'll see about that. Another team in the Eastern Conference that I want to talk about was Miami. Miami was the winner of the Kyle Lowry sweepstakes. We're able to add him to the mix. I believe they paid him 3-year, $90 million, which is, a lot of money. He's getting up there in age, but we'll see how that goes. They also would, add a little toughness with PJ Tucker, Morris twin. They still have Bam. They gave Jimmy Butler a ridiculous extension. Got to see how that plays out with his age and the style of play he plays. See if he holds up. But Bono, how'd you feel about Miami? Did they get better? Did they overpay? How do you feel about that, man?
I think they got better, but they also overpaid. I think in this one season, they're going to be better than what they have been past seasons. But the year after this and the year after that, they're going to be horrible. They're going to be shot. They're going to be paying Kyle Lowry. How old is he now? Like 36 or whatever?
Yeah, he's like 35, 36, bro.
Yeah. And then like in 2 years, he's going to be 38. Guys going to be paying like 30 mil for that. Jimmy Butler's been on offensive downhill for a while now. You saw like those finals performances, extremely like inefficient. Bam Adebayo is not that guy on offense yet. I love Bam Adebayo on defense. I love defensive players, but he's not a guy who can like run your offense and like be your go-to scorer. I don't know who their go-to scorer is. And you need that in the NBA to be a legit contender. And they're lacking that.
I agree with most of that. I think Miami, they got better, and they're going all in on like the final stretch of Jimmy Butler's career window here. So like in terms of that, if you're going to make that commitment to Jimmy Butler, which is like, it seemed pretty clear both sides wanted to do after reaching the finals 2 years ago, it seemed like both sides are pretty committed to each other, then yeah, all the moves make sense because they kind of line up in that, you're not going to be paying Kyle Lowry all this money after Jimmy Butler is gone, or like vice versa. So, I mean, I think they're going to be better. I think that last year they got really unlucky with a lot of like injury, COVID stuff, but I mean, a lot of teams did too. So it's, you can't blame that. But I do think that adding Lowry helps them take that load on offense that you were just talking about, and like kind of just diversify it so that, if a play breaks down, you can get it. Kyle Lowry can get it to Jimmy, and if Jimmy can't get something, he can attack the rim, pass it back out to Hero or Duncan or someone, or run a pick and roll with Bam. And I mean, clearly like the talent level is there. if everybody's healthy and can, I guess, kind of, get hot at the right times. But I don't think they had enough continuity last season. And I mean, they ran into the eventual champions, which is just a pretty tall task to, beat. So, I mean, we'll see what happens this year, but I'm not counting them out of the Eastern Conference at all. I think they have as good a shot as just about any team outside of the Nets.
I definitely think it's interesting with Miami because Miami seems like to never have cap space. Like it doesn't really matter who's on their roster, what contracts they have on their roster. It seems like they're able to reset whenever they want to. Remember, they didn't even have enough cap space to sign Jimmy Butler, and they were still able to get that done somehow. And then give Bam a max contract, and then bring in Lowry. Like it's, I hate Miami, but one thing I can't say about Miami, they have a good front office and they're able to maneuver around situations very well. Like them, the Lakers, like those guys never have cap space.
Getting off that Whiteside contract.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. And maybe next year, I do agree to Bono to some extent that maybe next year is their peak. But history has shown that Miami can get off any situation. Definitely another team I wanted to touch on real quick is the Celtics. I don't think a lot of people really talk about the Celtics. Definitely think the Celtics are going to be somewhat competitive. I definitely think Tatum understands that if the Celtics want any type of success this season, he needs to have an incredible MVP season. I think we would hope that's in his mind. Definitely Jaylen Brown should be coming back from his career high season. Definitely interesting to see how they play together. But they still got good players. They got Time Lord, they got Al Horford, they still got they signed Dennis Schroeder. People could say what they want, but he's definitely going to be able to help that team. Definitely going to be an upgrade.
That's a value contract at the number they got him at.
Yeah, exactly. So he's definitely going to be able to help them, because Kemba barely played and they didn't have no point guard play for majority of the season. So I definitely think that's something that people are not talking about.
They made that trade recently too.
Yeah, and we were talking about Juancho and how his ability to stretch the floor is underrated, and he could definitely help a team. And here he is with the Celtics, ready to help. But definitely a team that nobody's talking about, and I definitely think once the season starts rolling and they're winning a few games, definitely a team that the media will be able to pick up, and they're going to be overhyping. How do you feel about what I just said? I guess Bono.
I think people aren't talking about them for a reason. I don't think they're that good. Tatum's a superstar, but in this league, you can't just have one guy and have him just carry. Jaylen Brown's nice too, but I don't really see the Celtics making any legit noise in the East.
I can see your point. Nolan, how you feel about that?
I'm in between the middle of you guys on this one. I think Brown and Tatum are good enough in the East that they're definitely going to get you to the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, you saw like the Knicks, for example, like your rotation really dwindles. So like a lot of their depth issues won't be as big of an issue. I think the trade they made does help them. I think it makes a lot more sense for them than it did for Memphis, because I don't really understand what Memphis got out of that trade. But being able to stretch the floor and kind of fill a hole as big is definitely makes them a better team. But I mean, I don't see them being really any better than last year. I think like seed wise in the regular season, I do think they have a better chance of winning a first round series just if both stars are healthy, because if Brown and Tatum are healthy on your team, I mean, you have a chance to win 4 games out of 7, no matter who you're playing. But I still don't see them as legitimate contenders, which is kind of crazy thinking the whole ups and downs of the Celtics team since, Isaiah Thomas to Kyrie Irving to like all these different iterations of the Celtics teams that we've seen make the Eastern Conference Finals, that you've never really seen them get past that. It's kind of an indictment on, Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens, and Brad Stevens obviously is in a different role now, but we'll see how that all goes. I mean, his first move was to get rid of Kemba and bring in Al Horford, and maybe it makes more sense for that team. Maybe he knows more about their medical history than me, and maybe knows more about, Kemba than, obviously me, but I'm just kind of questioning where they got better. And the only thing that, like I said, gives me any optimism is that both their stars will be healthy throughout the whole year and they won't run into those issues like they did at the end of last season.
Nah, I won't saying that they're gonna be Eastern Conference Finals guys. I'm just saying
Right.
yeah, like they're definitely going to be competitive. Definitely not going to be one of those teams in the East where we feel like we could whip them like we felt like with Atlanta. Like we were whipping Atlanta, most of the time last year. I definitely do think Celtics are going to be a little bit more annoying than people think. And if you ask Nolan, I'm pretty optimistic about majority of the teams right now. I guess right now I'm pretty optimistic. Can't lie. Last topic I wanted to talk about was the Ben Simmons situation. I feel like we talk about Ben Simmons every pod, no, but definitely the rumors to him in Minnesota have been rumbling. I saw a package like Malik Beasley and like Vanderbilt. I forgot his name. But some pieces and draft picks and whatever pieces to give to Philly, but I don't think that package is big enough for a big fish like big Ben Simmons. I definitely think one of those guys are going to be in the deal, whether it's D'Lo or Edwards. One of those guys are going to be in the deal. But as far as Twitter hype, a team made up Towns, D'Lo, Simmons, and Edwards. It seems like a very talented team. Playing fantasy basketball. How if they were in a magical realm, able to get that trade done and have those four guys on the squad, how far does that team take you? Like, how far? Because that's a pretty deep team and that's a pretty talented team, pretty young. But Bono, how do you feel about all that stuff?
If they could somehow get Simmons without giving up any of their core guys, it's like D'Lo, Edwards, Cat. Respect to them, but it really depends on like how they use Ben Simmons, because when Ben Simmons is on the court, you play 4 and 5 on offense. If he's not passing the rock, you just don't guard him because he doesn't attempt a shot. We saw that in the Atlanta series. This guy attempted like 3 shots the entire fourth quarter. But I would say it really depends how they use him. I would say maybe use him like as a power forward guy, set screens, and then catch lobs on offense. Bring the ball up, and if it's transition, yeah, be a point guard, make a pass. But I don't want him like running my offense in the half court.
Because in the half court, Draymond role type of thing.
Yeah, kind of like that. But at least Draymond will like kind of attempt the shot.
Yeah,
Ben Simmons is just like a coward when it comes to it.
Yeah, and it's sad to see because like I never, expected Ben Simmons to be a great 3-point shooter, but I don't think anybody ever expected him to not attempt shooting threes. And even just to see his lack of aggression around the rim dwindle in this past postseason, specifically in Atlanta, like that was like, because you can be a good defender and like someone who just attacks the bucket like he did his first few years. He was like all-star, borderline all-star for a few of those years. But if you're losing your confidence to the ability or to the point that you're losing your like some of your strengths, and like maybe like a reset happens where he does get traded and like just that mental reset is enough to kind of get him back on track. But I don't see any way that trade can happen without a third team being involved where that the Sixers get some win now player because they just can't get rid of Simmons and bring in draft picks and like Malik Mose or whatever his name is. Who's the shooter
Malik
from
Beasley.
Malik Beasley? That's the name. Yeah. They're not going to go for that no matter how desperate they get. I think they go through the season as is before they take a deal like that. So, I mean, if it happened, I think their ceiling is still kind of limited just because I really don't know how good Cat is on the defensive end. And I love him as like a skilled player on offense. And D'Lo, I'm not really a fan of, but if he's playing more of like, if him and Ben are sharing like the offensive load and he plays a little bit more of an off ball, I can see that kind of working. Same with Edwards, but I still think the West is so deep that maybe in like 2-3 years that team makes some noise, but I think they'd still probably be best a second round exit in the West if they made that trade happen like today.
And I feel like people don't really blame they don't really look at Tobias Harris. He's getting paid max contracts to be, your main perimeter scorer. And, he kind of disappeared against the Hawks, got outplayed by Herder, got outplayed by, Cam Reddish came in, lighted up, performed way better than Tobias Harris at times. I just feel like, a lot of the blame, because of those big moments, he definitely got a lot of the blame, Ben Simmons. And also, that play when he gave up the layup, like, right? Was it like he didn't want to get blocked from behind and he passed the ball to Thibault? It's like, there's a lot of things running through your head. Like, it's game 7. You haven't made a free throw in how long? You're not trying to get fouled. It's a lot of stuff running through his mind, and no excuses, because he is the number 1 draft pick. He is, a star in his league. He made multiple all NBAs. So, he is a talented player, no excuses. But I don't think people look at the other parts of that team for blame. And I don't think it's a smart thing for them to bring in, I honestly don't think it's a smart thing for them to hold Ben Simmons into training camp and all that tension. Because you got to think, they have aspirations to be a championship team. And I don't know how that goes. The Fox rumors have definitely been a thing that me and Nolan has spoke about. And I definitely think that's a good thing for both teams. I definitely think Fox is tired of the bullshit going on in Sacramento. And, with those guys, with Halliburton, Hield, Rashard Holmes, maybe Simmons could create his own thing in Sacramento. I definitely think a fresh start.
If you're the Sixers, do you even do Fox for Simmons straight up?
Maybe not straight. Yeah. If I'm Philly, yeah, definitely. If I'm Philly.
I don't know if I'm Philly. I don't know. I don't think Fox is like that great of a shooter, and like, I don't think he like the biggest problem to me with them is spacing. And if he's gonna come in and just kind of be, just I don't know what you call like a prototypical like Thibodeau point guard who just like attacks the rim and is willing to shoot, like, yeah, that helps and stuff. But Ben Simmons, like we said, is a really good player and he's a slightly better fit, but I don't think the timeline matches up with Embiid enough to make that work. Because I think Embiid's career is going to be relatively short given his injury history, big man playing through injuries in playoffs and stuff. I think they need to win in the next 2 to 3 years or their window is going to be kind of closed.
Funny thing about Embiid, throughout the years, guys, the debate is, if you were going to break up that duo, who you picking, who are you staying with? And, I've always been a huge Ben Simmons fan and, his skill set on the court. But, This definitely, you see the Sixers pick Embiid over Simmons. Embiid has definitely been nuclear for the Sixers, but yeah, interesting to see that, and with the extension and everything.
Well, where the Sixers messed up is where I think the trade for Tobias Harris was stupid because they had to give up too much to get him.
Yeah, I didn't like that trade at
But
all.
then they let Jimmy walk instead of Simmons or Toby. And like, I'm not saying that keeping him wins them a ring or anything for certain, but it definitely took them back and it forced them into a situation where, because they gave up so much for Tobias Harris, that they had to pay him a max contract. And all the people complaining about Julius Randle getting his money, and then go take a look at Tobias Harris' contract, because he's getting paid more than Jules, and he has not lived up to that whatsoever. He's a solid player, but he didn't even make an all-star team this year. I mean, he's good, but like you said, he didn't step up for them in the playoffs, and that really wasn't talked about a lot.
And I don't know how people feel in PA, but I definitely think that year with Butler and Tobias, Simmons, and Embiid, that Kawhi shot. I definitely think that year was their year to win the chip. Definitely.
Yeah, I thought this year, if they would have, if Embiid was fully healthy, I thought they had a real shot.
Definitely. That team was loaded. Like, and they could have competed with a healthy Golden State team. Like, they were loaded, and defensively, they could have did some things, but it doesn't always work out with that. Bono, what's your final thoughts on that?
If I'm Philly, I'm trading Ben Simmons as soon as possible. I'm hearing reports he's not even like considering like putting on a jersey for them.
Yeah.
So I would settle for something low, but also like if I'm Ben Simmons, you got LeBron comparisons out of high school, and now the fact that like people are even considering you for Malik Beasley, that's just kind of sad. Like take a look in the mirror and like work on your game. Like how'd you get it? How'd you let it get this bad?
I always say this, but I feel like it got that bad because no one ever like criticized his shot, because everybody was so worried about Fult's shot. You're all just like, oh, like this dude's shot's broken. He's a guard. Simmons, he'll figure it out. He can do it. Look at all the good things he can do right now. And then by the time Fultz was gone, people realized Simmons' problem was even bigger than they thought, and he kind of coddled them. And now they're just in a really tough situation.
I like that hook shot he does though.
Yeah, he's got a little hook.
Even though, like we said before, the talent in the league is, incredible today. Definitely, one thing, Charles Barkley, he said, this generation is soft. His rookie year, he was 300 pounds, and Moses Malone told him, like, man, you're never going to be a star in this league if you're 300 pounds. Slowly but surely started working his way down. And I think, veterans like that, that tough love, I think that's something that Ben Simmons didn't have, because he was, the number one high school recruit, the number one college guy, number one draft pick. So I don't know how much, tough love that he got. I definitely agree with you. He definitely has to look himself in the face, because if your trade value was Malik Beasley, who just, got released from jail, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I think Jimmy Butler could have been that tough love guy for him though, and they really messed up letting Jimmy walk.
Yeah, that's where it all went wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree more.
Last few moves I want to talk about just real quick before we get off. Smaller moves around the league that still happen is looks like Paul Millsap is headed to the Nets, so that gives them an improvement over DeAndre Jordan, I guess, who's now being traded and bought out. Still have like what, Millsap, Claxton, Aldridge, and Okafor, I guess, as their like big rotations.
Shout out Okafor.
Yeah, and shout out Aldridge, because I was bummed that Aldridge had to end his career, and I'm just like really happy to see that it sounds like he'll be able to come back again. So I'm happy for him, and I'm excited for that.
Oh, for sure. Now the Paul Millsap thing was, interesting. He didn't get picked up, in free agency. I thought he was a very helpful piece, to Denver's success. Surprising, a team, like the Bucks or a team that's already contending, didn't pick him up. But I definitely think he will help the Nets. I don't know how much he'll play. With the big man situation that they got, but I definitely, out of all those big men that they have, I definitely think Claxton is their best defensive big man, be able to roll to the rim. And he's able to, guard the smaller guys. He's very quick on his feet. So
because he actually has working knees, unlike everyone else in the front court.
That's one thing that really, pops out in the Nets game. Like, man, this guy, his knees work. This center knees work. Man, yeah, definitely, for sure. And then DeAndre Jordan to the Lakers. I think, me and my dad were literally just talking about this last night. I don't understand like how he still has a job in the league. It's him and Whiteside, like two guys who just got extremely paid off their athleticism in their early 20s, and they're pretty much living life now and collecting checks in the NBA. I don't know how much DeAndre Jordan is going to help the Lakers, but hey, the more the merrier.
Got to be more than Andre Drummond, maybe?
Probably. I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least like a SWAT, like even I don't think either of them are that good.
Yo, what team does Drummond play for? Again,
I honestly don't know.
What team did he sign to?
Wait, who? Hassan?
Drummond.
Drummond?
Wasn't it Philly? Wasn't it Philly?
Is Drummond in Philly now?
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he is in Philly.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
I don't know how he ended up in Philly, but he's in Philly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Also, did you see Taco Fall is in Cleveland?
Yeah, he's in Cleveland.
With Markkanen, Love, Mobley, and Allen. Like,
that's a lineup I want to see.
Yeah, I want to put all five. I want to see Point Taco.
Yeah, Point Taco.
Shooting guard Markkanen. I don't know. Make it happen.
Man, they're going to be terrible defensively. They got two midgets in the backcourt. Markkanen, who can guard
nobody. Got to
nobody.
make up for all that size with all these big men. It's all about averages.
That the size got to average right on your team, right?
Yeah. And analytics, bro.
And the Okoro pick, we got to see how he develops, but I don't know about him. The cat, I don't know. The Cavs.
I like Okoro.
You like him? I don't know. I
think he's solid. Mm-hmm.
I'm a defense guy, so.
But can he score though? I don't know if he could score on me. I don't know. I don't know if he could score the ball, bro. Like,
he's not really a scorer, but
yeah, it's not a strength, but
it's not bad. But
I like to have my three to be able to at least average at least 12 points a game if he's starting on my team. Maybe in the future he does, develop some type of, offensive skill set. But right now he kind of, he's kind of like, to me, a replica of Michael Gilchrist. I forgot.
MKG.
Yeah, him. He's similar built, athletic, could guard multiple positions, but I don't know how much offense you're gonna get from this guy. I don't know, but yeah, the Cavs are definitely are in a pickle for sure.
Shout out to MKG, former Nick.
Yeah,
man. Shout out to the
once a Nick, always a Nick.
Exactly. Yeah.
No matter how little time.
Definitely. Yeah, I guess we could just end the pod right here. Shout out to Bono for coming on, man. We appreciate you. Make sure to follow him on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, his Twitter will be in the description with me and Nolan's. Make sure to check out the Corner 3 Pod on Twitter and the website, where we have all our pods and articles coming up for the season as well. Definitely gonna get articles, guys, out to you during the season. And I believe episode like 27 or 20. I don't even know, but
is there anything you want to plug before you get off, man?
If any NBA team is listening right now, sign Frank Ntilikina.
Oh man, shout out to Frank, man.
Free Frank.
Free Knox, man. Hopefully he gets to shine this season. Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Hey man, it was good having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a good time.